Allen grabbing at his right arm with 33 seconds on the clock.
How do you think this affects the game, though, as you look at this matchup now with or without Josh Allen?
No determination yet on whether he will be able to play.
If Josh Allen doesn't go, it's Case Keenum.
Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs both going against their old team. Vikings.
Is he going to play? The answer is we'll see.
The big game of the afternoon.
This is what the story of the season is. I would not rule out this Bills team.
To the end zone! And Singletary reels off another big one. Pressure coming, he is sacked. Who else but Von Miller?
Play fast, physical, and free.
Keenum steps into it. Pass is caught! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is your host, Mike McCracken, aka Slacks, aka I'm a procrastinator, aka we're here. And been a minute. We're here, and that's what matters. At least we got back to this. So that was the Week 10 trailer for this Sunday's matchup between the Bills and the Vikings. Obviously, the biggest concern coming out of this week is, will Josh Allen play? Will he not play? You know, is Case Keenum going to play? Are they going to elevate Matt Barkley from the practice squad? Like, nobody knows what's going on because the Bills lock everything up and don't tell anybody anything. Allen went from unknown to getting MRIs to getting more tests done, then he's week to week, then he's day to day, then he was hour to hour, and I guess now, according to Ian Rappaport, he's going to play. So it's been a wild week. Nobody knows what to expect for tomorrow, and obviously the fear is like you don't want to re-aggravate his elbow or UCL. You don't want to re-aggravate that, because if there's a chance or a scenario where this elbow gets re-aggravated and he actually tears it, and it's not just a tiny tear, like he actually tears it, and you know, Allen needs Tommy John surgery, that injury takes over a year or better to recover from. And I don't know about you guys, I don't want to sit here, you know, November 13th, 2023 saying, oh, Allen's finally coming back. I don't want to go through that. And I certainly don't want to jeopardize his longevity on this football team, because let's face it, if we don't have Josh Allen, if Josh Allen's out for the year, we're done. And look, I love the playmakers on this team and everything, and I'm not saying Josh is the whole team. Like, obviously, you know, it's not just Josh, but like, he's the main contributor. He's the main reason why this team has success, let's be honest. And if he's out, then that's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much it. But they're saying it's not as bad as everybody thought it was, and it wasn't as bad as when he did it in his rookie year when he hurt himself and he was out 4 weeks with the same injury. So that's a sign of relief. I mean, he did throw the ball 70 plus yards despite holding his elbow. I don't think it's that bad of an injury, but you just want to be careful. He's your franchise quarterback. He's the fucking guy. QB1, $258 million. Like, you just don't want to mess this up. You really don't. I would have been, don't get me wrong, not as confident playing Keenum, but I would rather, you know, have our quarterback's health be determined and, you know, let him rest and let him heal up, even if it was just for one game. Like, I know we're playing the NFC North these next couple weeks, but like, yes, wins matter, but like, you need Josh fully ready to go for this division stretch we're about to have. Bills are going to play the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins. So, I mean, you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready to play your in-division games. And not only that, but more so now than ever, considering that the Bills are 0-2 in their division. Lost to the Jets, had a sloppy whole game. Josh was off the whole game. Nothing went right in that game. And, you know, second half against Green Bay, I was there. That they looked like a whole different team. Last 6 quarters for the Buffalo Bills has not been good. Not good at all. Defense can't stop the run. The offense can't get anything going. And here we are again in November, where this offense is starting to stall out, and it's been a constant theme, I think, since 2019. It's been a constant theme here. 2019, we lost to Cleveland in a brutal fucking game. Should have won that game, lost by 3, and Hauschka missed a couple field goals. Last year, November, we lose to Jacksonville against Urban Meyer. Somehow we got outcoached by Urban fucking Meyer. I'm still mad about that game. And then here we lose to the Jets. Like, what is like the internal issue, or like, what is the problem when we get in November here? Now, I understand that this year we're we're dealing with injuries, and that's been a big problem all year. And if Josh is, that's why I say if Josh is done, you might as well call the season. I mean, everybody's been getting hurt this year. I don't understand it. I mean, everybody's getting hurt this year. I don't know if we're the 2021 Ravens this year. I don't know. I really don't fucking know. And it's odd considering this team has been honestly fortunate and lucky with injuries. I mean, Hyde and Poyer, they've been healthy the last 4 years in a row since they joined the team in 2017. Poyer's been in and out of games all year dealing with elbow injury as well. And Hyde's out for the year with a neck injury. And you could tell just how important they've been and how nice it's been to have them, and the fact that I've never taken them for granted, but God, do I fucking miss the both of them out there. And Trey White, who should be coming back this week, and if he's not, then I don't know when he's coming back. Guy's not on the injury report. I think he could have played against the Jets. He traveled with the team. But I understand the concern, you don't want to rush him back into it, and I get all that. And obviously, too, MetLife's turf sucks. So I get it. But, it looked like he was ready to go, and then he didn't play, and, it's the Jets, and that's kind of what it seemed like it was, and we all did it. I did it, too. I thought we were going to crush them, and then we somehow lost to Zach fucking Wilson, but we'll go over that when we get to that. I got to rewind here and talk about Kansas City, because I never got to it, because I left for Vegas, and then I had jet lag, and then I just never got to it, so that's my fault. But, it is what it is. I mean, we're here. I haven't talked about the Bills since that Pittsburgh game on here, but, November... It's a weird month. I don't know. It's a weird month. Bills' offense is stalling out again. The Sabres are fucking losing. It's not fun right now. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. If the Bills still win on Sunday, I don't know. I'm not okay. I'm genuinely not okay right now. And I know it's Buffalo and everything, but you get so tired of hearing the knock-knock jokes. You get so tired of everyone just saying the same shit. Oh, poverty franchise, this and that. It just gets old, man. It really does. And, what else gets old is, just a tough break for Buffalo. Oh, my God. It's just, what a tough break. What the fuck else is new? It's hard. And honestly, this too. The Bills having the tiebreaker over Tennessee, over Baltimore, over Kansas City, being the number 1 seed in the AFC, yet they're 0-2 in their own division, their quarterback gets hurt. That's the most Buffalo Bills thing ever, isn't it? That's the most Buffalo Bills thing ever, I think. You have wide right, Music City Miracle, 13 seconds, all that fucking horrible shit. No goal. Top it all off this year. Not saying it's up there with those heartbreaking losses, but I'm just saying, in general, it's the most Buffalo Bills thing ever. Fucking just, man, November's just not a good month for Buffalo football or hockey even. It's just not a good month for Buffalo sports, and I don't know why. It is what it is. The Bills at one point were out of the division last year, and then they went back in, and then they, ended up winning it. So the season's not over. I'm not gonna sit here and say, the season's over, even if Al was out a couple weeks. Season's not over yet. The Bills only have 2 losses, given they were both fucking, are you kidding me, losses. It wasn't like we got our asses kicked. It was that's how we lose. I feel like that's how it's been since 2019, except for the Indianapolis game last year, where it's that's how we lose. This is how we're gonna lose. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. It's insane. But I'm gonna rewind here, do a little rewind recap, since I suck and can't stay on schedule with this, but it is what it is. And I'm going to rewind. We're going to talk about Kansas City. And like I said, this game was important. It was for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Obviously, we didn't know about hell into the elbow and all that at that point. Obviously not at that point. But we're going to go over that. We'll talk about that. And it was a fucking nail-biter, this game against Kansas City. It was a fucking nail-biter. Talk about Kansas City. Talk about the Sabres. We'll talk about Green Bay game. And then we'll talk about the Vikings game. So stay tuned for all that. But we'll get into this Kansas City game. We'll go over everything. And, the thing is, too, when I was watching this game, I was at Rec Room downtown with some friends. We got bottle service. So, I was getting, I'm not going to lie, I was getting fucked up during this game because they were just, it was crazy. It was all over the place. Every time, they got a touchdown, we were doing shot. It was crazy. We had a lot of fun that night, though. But, we were going crazy. Even when they weren't winning, I was pounding away at high noons. I was getting so pissed. And I never do that. I never do that when I'm drinking. I never do that. Believe me, when I'm drinking, it's a fun time. We're having fun with our friends. It's nothing like that. But man, that night I was just pounding away because I was just so fucking mad. Because I was I do not want to lose this Kansas City again. And then they have the number 1 seed, and then we're playing them in Arrowhead again. And Pat Mahomes never has to go on the road in the fucking playoffs, and it's aggravating. It's just the whole thing. So we'll go over that. We'll talk about this game. We'll talk about this rivalry and all that, and let's get into it. So the Bills won this one against Kansas City 24-20. Bills move on to 5-1. Kansas City falls to 4-2. Bills get the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they continue to stay atop of their division. So the thing is, though, this was only a 4-point win. It was 24-20. This was only a 4-point victory. Kansas City could have won this game. Kansas City could have won this game, and we could have been 4-2. They could have been 5-1. They could have been leading the AFC with the number 1 seed. That's what we didn't want, and thankfully that didn't happen. Although that's always subject to change. We don't know what the playoff picture is going to look like by December. This was back in October we're talking about here, and this was almost a month ago. So already almost a month ago. But this could have gone either way. It was a nail biter though. Looking at the box score here, both teams didn't score in the first quarter. Both teams had 10 points in the second quarter. Both teams had 7 points in the third quarter, and Buffalo had a touchdown while Kansas City only had a field goal. So it was neck and neck the whole way. And both these teams, when fully healthy, mind you, when these teams are on the same level, these teams are in the same tier. Last year in the AFC, it was Buffalo and Kansas City. And this year we thought, okay, well, now we have Denver with Russell Wilson, and the Chargers have Herbert, and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a battle. But in reality here, it's still Buffalo, Kansas City. And yes, I know Allen is elbow and everything, but it's still Buffalo, Kansas City. It really still is. Baltimore's starting to find their way, but it's really Buffalo, Kansas City. And yes, Philadelphia's on the other side with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and they're just killing it. But that's in the NFC. They've had a pretty easy schedule, and they're taking advantage of it, but that's on the NFC. We have to focus on the AFC, and we have to get in the dance before we can even talk about the NFC. So we'll do some play-by-play here. Now, the one thing I will say is if you guys don't want me to do this, then someone should tell me. I don't mind doing play-by-play, but I feel like sometimes it may come off as boring. And if that's the case, then someone needs to tell me. Because, listen, it's 2022, and none of us have a fucking attention span. So if this is, too much, someone needs to tell me. But I like to go through the play-by-play, because then it helps me remember certain plays in the game that I normally wouldn't think of off the top of my head. This is just why I do it. But if you guys don't want me to do it. So the scoring in this game came in the second quarter. There was no scoring between either team in the first quarter. Tyler Bass kicked a 39-yard field goal with 13:32 in the second quarter. It's 3-0 Buffalo. 11:31 for the Chiefs. The second quarter, 11:31 to go. Mahomes throws a 42-yard pass to Juju Smith-Schuster for a touchdown. Bills defensive backs miss tackles. He runs all the way down the field, gets the touchdown, 7-3. Gabe Davis, with 16 seconds left in the second quarter, gets a 34-yard pass from Josh Allen. Tyler Bass kick is good. It's 10-7. And then Buffalo squibs the kick. They squib the kick. This time they squib the kick. Doesn't fucking matter. Kansas City goes down the field. Bucker gets a 62-yard field goal to tie game. Third quarter, with 7 minutes and 2 seconds remaining, Stephon Diggs gets a 17-yard touchdown pass from number 17, Josh Allen. Tyler Bass kicks the extra point. It's good. 2:44, Chiefs. Mecole Hardman, 3-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Harrison Butker's kick is good. It's 17-17. With 9:49 to go, Chiefs. Harrison Butker kicks a 44-yard field goal. It's now 20-17 Kansas City's a 3-point game. With 1:04 remaining, Dawson Knox gets a 14-yard touchdown pass from Josh Allen. Tyler Bass kicks the extra point. 24-20. Bills end up winning the ball game. So, like I said, this was a nail biter. The game was tied twice, and despite it just only being 2 times, it felt like the game was basically tied the whole time. If the Bills didn't make mistakes, if Kansas City didn't make mistakes, it could have been like last time. It could have honestly been 42-36, but it was more of a defensive game this time. This time around, it was defensive game. It really was. Both these offenses, they would be on the door and then nothing. Nothing. Because it was either mistakes or just the defense held up. But when the defense did fuck up on both sides, they really fucked up. It was a defensive battle for the most part. It really was. Because if we went into this game saying that Buffalo's going to win 24-20, we would have been like, what's wrong? What went wrong in this game? What went wrong in this game? It really was a nail biter. It really was a nail biter in this game. So, the one play I do want to talk about to start, Buffalo started with the ball because Kansas City won the coin toss and they deferred. So, as Buffalo's on the Kansas City 13-yard line. Allen aborted the snap, and he tried to do the toss, the quick toss to Isaiah McKenzie, what Mahomes does all the time. And I don't know if McKenzie didn't see this play. I don't know what was going on here. I don't think this was a designed play. I think Allen was just trying to improvise. Nobody was open. It wasn't the right play call. I think he was just trying to do too much. But regardless, it didn't make any fucking sense, and it cost the Bills 7 points here because it was a fumble. Darius Harris of the Chiefs recovers, and they get the ball back. So the fear was, it's like, oh my god, like here we go, because if Kansas City goes on the field and scores, now we're chasing the whole game. But that's the same fear for Kansas City, right? If Buffalo scores, now they're chasing, because like I said, these teams are neck and neck. I mean, the fact that this game was 24-20, I mean, it was neck to neck. These teams were neck and neck in this game. It could have gone either way. It could have been 24-20 Bills, it could have been 24-20 Chiefs, but it was neck and neck this whole game, and Buffalo was fortunate enough to come out with the win. It was a defensive game, though. I mean, there was offense, and when the offense showed up, it showed up huge, but it was really a defensive game, and when the defense fucked up, you knew it. It was just one of those games where it was a nail biter. It was a fucking nail biter, and it was a very important, crucial win for the Bills. It definitely was, because if the Bills don't win this game, we're looking ahead to December, and it's like, oh, here we go. Kansas City is the number 1 seed again. Well, as of right now, the Bills have the number 1 seed, which is a good thing. Problem is, Bills are 0-2 in their division, and Allen had the elbow issue. Obviously, again, we didn't know about that we know that now, but we didn't know about that then. But it's just crazy. It's just crazy how much of a nail biter this game really was. And like I said, Tyler Bass gets the field goal, so it's 3-0. Now, I want to move forward. Mahomes completed this short left pass to Juju Smith-Schuster for 42 yards. Defense missed tackles in this game. I mean, it happened again. I mean, this play, DeMar Hamlin and Jordan Poyer let up because they just let it up. And Tyler Bass kicks the 39-yard field goal. Now, moving forward here in the second quarter, it was 11:44 to go. 3rd and 10 on the Buffalo 42-yard line. It's 3rd and 10, and Mahomes completes a pass to Juju Smith-Schuster for a 42-yard touchdown. Missed tackles led to this touchdown. Juju drives all the way down the field. And again, it's long 3rd downs. This philosophy, it's long 3rd downs we keep letting up. This has been a problem for years. I'm not just talking about this year. I mean, this has been a fucking problem for years, where it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. I mean, they're letting these fucking plays up. I mean, they'll stop him on 3rd and 1. They'll stop him on 3rd and 2, and then it's 4th and 1. But then you saw earlier in the game, Mahomes scrambles for 6 yards, gets the fucking 1st down anyway. You don't think Mahomes ain't going to go for it on 4th down? Josh Allen goes for it on 4th down all the time. That 3rd down philosophy is just, it doesn't work. Waiting to make a play, like defense, you gotta make a fucking play. You gotta make a play. They wait to make a play. What kind of a fucking philosophy on defense is that? And I've never understood that since McDermott's been here. And again, McDermott has done a fantastic job since joining the Buffalo Bills. Same with Brandon Beane. But there's, when you're winning, you gotta nitpick to find shit. Let's be honest, when you're winning, you're gonna nitpick. I mean, especially being a Bills fan, going through the drought and everything we've been through, we're going to fucking nitpick a bit. It just happens. But 3rd downs, these long 3rd downs, you got to stop them. Like, you were the number 1 defense last year. You're arguably, number 1 defense in DVOA here on Pro Football Reference. Like, you got to fucking make that play. You don't just make a play on 1st and 2nd down. You got to make a play on 3rd down. You got to make a play on 3rd down. And I mean, regardless, they were going to get the 1st down, but the missed tackles, it kills me. It fucking kills me. And I feel like it's always against Kansas City. It's always against Kansas City, mostly. Missed tackles, missed opportunities, long 3rd downs. It always happens against Kansas City. Always. You can't tell me it doesn't. You want to go back and look at the highlights? Fine. 2020, when they played them in COVID here with no fans. Fucking 2021, last year, even when they won, they still had missed tackles. The divisional game, the defense didn't do shit that entire fucking game. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time against Kansas City. The team that you're trying to beat the most. It's not a good look. It's not a good look to just wait and make a play. Go make a fucking play. Go make a play. For God's sakes, go make a play. It's been a problem for the last 5 years. That's why I'm getting so fired up about it. watching it for 5 years. Shit, I mean, maybe you could even say 7. I mean, I remember just how horrible Rex Ryan's defenses were. I mean, you could probably say longer than 5 years, but I'm just going off McDermott. Been a problem for a while. I don't know exactly if it's McDermott or Leslie Frazier, but it's a problem. It's a fucking problem. And they run zone coverage all the time. Like, that's like the main thing on defense is nickel defense, and they run zone. And if you have the right guys to run zone, by all fucking means do it. Like Trey White, my guy Jordan Poyer, like, they're really good at zone. They're really good at zone coverage. The problem is Trey White's out, Micah Hyde's out, and I mean, this game Jordan Poyer wasn't, but you know, Jordan Poyer's been out. Your 3 main guys who are really good at zone have been out. And even at times Matt Milano has been out with injury. And you're forced to start Kyer Elam, Christian Benford, DeMar Hamlin, at times Jaquan Johnson, just traded for Dean Marlowe. I know, here I am going off on a tangent again, but like, you're calling zone, and you're calling zone more now than ever. It was 58% of the time on average. This year it's like 79% of the time they're calling zone. If you have rookies or, you know, second-year players or third-year players, you know, taking their spot and they're better at man coverage, then run some fucking plays in man coverage and call blitz. It's not going to kill you. It's really not. You got Von Miller. Against Patrick Mahomes, honestly, it was smart of them to, you know, stay in coverage because he's going to throw the ball down the field. But, like, when they're playing Zach Wilson or even when they play Tua, I mean, come on. Like, you can't play zone every play. You can't play zone all the time. You're going to get figured out. You're going to get figured out real quick. And especially with how long McDermott's been in the league now, 5 years, well, as a head coach. Come on. And he ran the same kind of defense in Carolina. Like, eventually you're going to get figured out. Like, you have to adapt to your opponent. You have to be able to adapt or you're going to die. Especially in the NFL, not for long. Like, you have to adapt, and you especially have to adapt when you're playing different quarterbacks and you're playing different teams with different strengths every single fucking week. I'm so tired of that. I'm so fucking tired of that. Here I am ranting at a game we won on, but like, it's just in general. I'm still pissed off we lost to the Jets, but we'll get to that. And then I will say Isaiah McKenzie did not have a good game in this one. Isaiah McKenzie did not have a good game in this match, and that's another thing I want to talk about here. Isaiah McKenzie is not having the season we were hoping he'd be having, and that's not just off of this game, but it's just like he did not have a good one in this game. If you want to look at advanced receiving stats here, in this game, Isaiah McKenzie targeted 5 times and only had 2 receptions for 9 yards. Yards after catch was 2. Yards after catch rate was 1.0. His receiver rate in this game was 47.9. I mean, Isaiah McKenzie is not having the year we were hoping he was going to have. And the problem is, we're paying this guy a lot more this year than we were last year to do the same thing he was doing last year. Everybody was hoping, including myself, that, you know, Isaiah McKenzie would take another step forward. And seeing how he played in New England, you know, and Cole Beasley did not have a good year last year, you know, it looked like he was going to be the replacement for Cole Beasley. Like, he was going to take over in the slot. It just hasn't been that. It just has not been that this year. I mean, there are times he's dropped catchable passes. You know, he's made some turnovers. And not only that, you know, there are times he's not on the field. Like I said, we're missing those wildcat plays that he's been so good in. And I think that's what's not helping out either, is like not using him to his strengths, like using him on those good, like, wildcat plays and stuff like that. But like, he's not doing good. He's not doing good right now. Really, he's not. So in the second quarter, when Allen completed the deep right pass to Gabe Davis for a 34-yard touchdown, this drive was up and down, back and forth. Like, it was an ugly start to that drive, but they were able to get the touchdown. It was 1st and 10, and Buffalo started on the 4-yard line because Kansas City punted the ball for 56 yards. It was returned by Khalil Shakir for no gain. But the thing is that Tyler Makovich had an illegal block in the back. So Buffalo had to start on the 4-yard line. Then, you know, Saffold gets a fucking false start, but since they're on the 4-yard line, now they're on the Buffalo 2-yard line. And again, you know, here we are again. This is the 3rd time I'm talking about this on here. It happened in Tennessee. It happened with the Steelers. And here it is again happening with Kansas City. We're on the fucking, we're in our own end, and then it's like offensive lineman gets a penalty. Why? And it's false start. Motherfucker, you should know the snap count. You're the fucking offensive lineman. You should know the fucking snap count. That shit drives me crazy. So it's 1st and 11. Allen incomplete pass intended for Isaiah McKenzie, we just talked about. 2nd and 12. Allen runs to the left for a 1-yard loss. Why? My question is why Allen's even running. And the other question I have, why is that? Was that the play call, or was that just Allen being Allen? And it could have been. It could have been Allen being Allen. And if that's the case, like, Allen, just throw the ball away. You're on the 2-yard line. But the other thing is if that's a Dorsey call, why are you fucking calling a run on 2nd and 12 on the 2-yard line? You're wasting second down. You're wasting a play doing that. I'm sorry. It's been a minute, so maybe someone can remind me if that was a design play or not, but why is that a play? Why is that a play on 2nd and 12 on the Buffalo 2-yard line? See, like, it's a horrible start. Here we go again. Horrible start, and then, Buffalo ends up getting the touchdown anyway. But it's 3rd and 13 on the Buffalo 1-yard line. Allen completes a pass to Gabriel Davis for 18 yards. Good fucking play by Davis there, who has not had, honestly, a great year despite the long plays, but I'll talk about that when we talk about the Jets game. I'm not going to talk about that in this one, because he had a good game in this game. I'm not going to talk about him in this one. So, 1st and 10, Buffalo 19-yard line now. Allen short down the middle for Dawson Knox for 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Allen completes a pass to Stephon Diggs for 30 yards. It's now 1st and 10 on the Kansas City 48-yard line. Allen completes a short right pass to Khalil Shakir for 14 yards. Second timeout by Buffalo. So it's 1st and 10 on the fucking Kansas City 34-yard line. And Allen completes a deep right pass to 34 yards for a Gabriel Davis touchdown. Way to fucking make up for that horrendous start, and you're almost going to give the ball back to Kansas City before the first half ended. Obviously, Bass kicks the extra point. It's good. So here's the thing now I want to talk about here. Last year, in the divisional game, with 13 seconds left, Kansas City drove down the field and tied the game to bring it to overtime. We all know that. We all dread it. We all don't like talking about it. But it happened. One of the controversies in that game was, why didn't Buffalo squib the ball? And it's still a good question, because it would have taken time off the clock. Why did you not squib the ball? Well, here's the thing. I don't know if they did in this game to see if, what if we did in this game to see what would have maybe in a scenario went differently. I don't know. But they squibbed the ball with 16 seconds left this time, not 13 seconds. So Bass kicks the ball up for 46 yards, returned by Michael Burton for 9 yards. There's 12 seconds left on the clock. Buffalo took a timeout. So 1st and 10 on Kansas City 28-yard line. Mahomes completes a pass to Tariq McKinnon for 19 yards. It's 1st and 10 again. Mahomes completes a pass to Travis Kelce for 9 yards. There's 1 second left remaining. Like in just 2 plays, Mahomes went down the field. In just 2 plays. So, regardless of the squib or not, it didn't fucking matter. That narrative is now out the window. Isn't that amazing in sports? How fast narratives change and how fast opinions change. Although, honestly, the Bills really should have squibbed the ball. I mean, it would have taken a couple of seconds off the clock. They really should have, though. But seeing that they did in this game probably wouldn't have fucking mattered either way. Which is upsetting, because it's like we were all, sitting here losing our minds over that all offseason. But in 2 plays, Mahomes still drove down the field. And of course, Kansas City gets the 62-yard field goal by Harrison Butker. And Phil Nance and Tony Romo are all just freaking out. And, oh my God, it's just so annoying. It's so annoying when that happens. And then you gotta hear the announcers gloating over it, and you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's just, it's like, of course, Buffalo Bills luck, Buffalo Bills fashion. Of course, they drive down the field. It's a tie game. It's basically 0-0. I don't care this 10-10. At the end of that first half, I'm like, it's 0-0. It's 0-0. That's what it felt like. And Kansas City starts with the ball. To say I was nervous was an understatement. I was like internally screaming. I was like, oh my fucking God. Because part of me was thinking, what if this game goes overtime again? The overtime rules was another controversy in 13 seconds. What if Josh Allen got the ball? Josh Allen never got the ball. Now, that rule was changed, but it was only changed for the playoffs, not for regular season. So the same thing could have happened again. Mahomes could have, won the toss in overtime, and they could have went down the field and scored. Could have been 27-20. I mean, there was a possibility, man. There was a huge possibility that could happen. And that's something I was like, that can't happen, I was fearing that. I was like, this cannot happen. This cannot happen. So third quarter starts. The Bills are able to stop Mahomes on their first drive. But on the second drive, Allen drove down the field and got Stephon Diggs a 17-yard touchdown. So with the Tyler Bass extra point being good of 17-10. Following drive, Mahomes drives down the field. Harrison Butker kicks the extra point. It's good. 17-17. And this is when I start to think, here we go, like, this is going to be back and forth now. But it wasn't. It was not. No. Like I said, defensive game. It was a defensive game. It wasn't like that. But it was like, here we go, like, back and forth. Maybe this is going to be the start of it. And you don't want to, you don't want to be chasing. At least this time it was Kansas City chasing. But it seems like when Buffalo and Kansas City play each other, it's really whoever scores that first touchdown that the rest of the time they're chasing. It really matters when you score the first touchdown. That's why I was freaking out when Allen did that toss to McKenzie that he didn't see and it was a fumble and a turnover. And Mahomes is the only one in the NFL that can do that. I don't know how he does it, but he's like the only one in the NFL that can do it. Because other fucking quarterbacks that try to do that play can't do it. They can't do it because it's either incomplete, a fumble, or it's just disaster every single time. I'm not sure if any other quarterback's been able to do it, but Mahomes is like the only one that can do it. Honestly, I'm surprised Allen can't do it because, like, you would think maybe he could, but no. McKenzie was not in the right area for that. I'm still mad about that. So, it's 17-17. Buffalo gets the ball back, and you thought this was going to be back and forth. I did. I thought it was going to be back and forth, but it wasn't. The offense was driving until we got to the Kansas City 47-yard line, then it stalled. Allen had a 5-yard pass to Diggs. It was 2nd and 5. Allen completed that pass and followed up with a James Cook run for 4 yards. It was 3rd and 1. And then on 3rd and 1, we ran up the middle with Singletary for a 2-yard loss. And this play, I hate because this isn't even like, I'm not even going to say Dorsey or just McDermott or Dorsey. I mean, I've been watching the Bills run this play since I started watching them. And I've never understood this play since watching football. It's like, if it's fucking 3rd and 1, and you stack the box, every motherfucker in that stadium and watching it at home is going to know you're running the ball. Like, it is so predictable. And, of course, they get a 2-yard loss. So it's 4th and 3. And is there time to panic in that situation? No. You have Josh Allen, 4th and 3. All right, easy money. It was an incomplete pass to Diggs. So Kansas City starts on their 46-yard line. They drive down the field, and they get a 44-yard field goal. The Bills' defense did stop them, so that was clutch. That was clutch by the Bills' defense. But the Bills didn't follow that up with a good drive, neither did Kansas City. And then Buffalo went down the field and scored thanks to a Dawson Knox 14-yard touchdown with a extra point by Tyler Bass being good. And that's another person who hasn't done much this year is Dawson Knox. I don't know exactly what the issue is here. I don't know if it's Ken Dorsey not designing plays for Dawson Knox and his tight end. I don't know if it's because of what happened in the preseason where, Knox lost his brother, and I don't know if that's still bugging him. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but the problem is you re-signed him to be paid like a top 5 tight end in football, and Knox isn't doing anything this year. Now, the thing is, his contract doesn't start till next year, but Knox is going to be getting paid $16 million a year. And if he plays like this next year, there's going to be a problem because he's going to be taking up a large cap sum, and you got to have plays from your tight end. And he was making good plays last year, and I just don't know. I think it's a Dorsey issue because I don't feel like Dorsey is designing enough plays to the tight end. I feel like that's one thing Daboll did really well last year. He was designing a lot of plays for Dawson Knox, and it's like, now with Daboll gone in New York with the Giants, it's like, all right, you got Dorsey, the rookie play caller, and he's not calling plays to his tight end, but he's calling so many more plays to his running backs, throwing it out of the backfield. With the wrong running back, mind you, it really should be James Cook or now Nyheim Hines, but that's not the point. But this drive started the Buffalo 24, and Allen and the offense went down the field. And this is what won them the game, because if they didn't get this, that would have pretty much probably been it. That would have pretty much been it. Because if Allen doesn't complete that pass to Knox, it's 3rd and 12, and who knows? Maybe they don't get it. that's going to be the ball game. The Bills would lose 20-17. So the fact that Allen and the offense drove down the field and scored, this is what won them the game, because defense showed up at the end. Taron Johnson got a pick at the end of the game. He read the play and intercepted what was supposed to be a pass intended for Sky Moore. Won them the game doing that. Offense was able to go down the field here and score and win the game. If Allen didn't do that, I don't know, man. And Diggs showed up big. He had a 5-yard gain, then he had an 11-yard gain, then he had an 18-yard gain. Then Allen ran to the right for 16 yards. After a 2-yard loss, he completed the pass to Knox. So, in spite of how ugly and a nail-biter this was, it was a fucking game. It was a hell of a fucking game. It really was. It's just crazy to me that there wasn't more points in this game, and it was also crazy to me that, like, we won this game and we have the number 1 seed in the AFC. That was just kind of like a mind blown. Like, Buffalo with the number 1 seed in the AFC. Never thought I'd ever actually see it. And it's still crazy to think about. But it was a fucking game, that's for sure. It definitely lived up to the hype. I mean, it was more defensive, but it lived up to the hype of being a good fucking game. That's for sure. Allen was 27-40 for 329, 3 touchdowns. He also rushed 12 times for 32 yards. Singletary rushed 17 times for 85 yards. Diggs had a fucking day. 13 targets, 10 receptions, 148 yards, and 1 touchdown. Gabriel Davis had 3 receptions for 74 yards and 1 touchdown. His longest reception was 34 yards. Knox had 3 receptions for 37 yards, and he had the touchdown at the end that mattered the most. But if it wasn't for Allen and Diggs, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if the Bills could have won this game. Because Davis had a long touchdown, but if it wasn't for Allen and Diggs, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Mahomes was 25 of 40 for 338, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Not the best day for Mahomes. Mahomes did not have the best day. Kelsey was 8 receptions for 108 yards, 0 touchdowns. Juju Smith-Schuster had 5 receptions for 113 yards and 1 touchdown. Mecole Hardman had 3 receptions for 42 yards and a touchdown. Now, he didn't have that much of a game in this one, but Mecole Hardman I was worried about, because he's been able to run all over the Bills too. I mean, but seeing Mahomes without Tyreek Hill, he's still able to get the job done. But with Mahomes playing the Bills, I mean, I was thinking, like, Mahomes definitely misses Tyreek Hill right now, because Tyreek Hill was running all over the Bills when he was in Kansas City. I guarantee you Mahomes misses Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill is on pace for 2,000 yards receiving this year with Tua, of all people, because Tua and that offense is designed for Tua to run with the ball if needed, but it's designed for Tua to throw short passes to either Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, and they just go down the field because they're that fast. And it's working. Do I think Tua's a good quarterback? No, I still don't. But what he's doing and what the Miami offense is doing and what Mike McDaniel is doing is working. Do I think Tua fits the system? Absolutely. I definitely think he fits that system with Mike McDaniel. And I'm not saying Tua hasn't thrown some good deep balls this year, but especially watching against Buffalo, I just don't see it yet. But there's still one more meeting, so we'll see. He definitely has taken a step this year. I'm not going to deny that. But I still am not buying into the Tua hype. And probably partly that is because of my conscious bias of being a Bills fan. I don't like the Dolphins. But I'm not seeing it. Even just watching highlights of him, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. But regardless, Bills come out with the win in a very important matchup. Most definitely needed. Allen and Diggs getting it done. Knox getting the touchdown at the end. Couldn't have asked for a fucking crazier way to put it. Bills get the win. Move on to the next week. Number 1 seed in the AFC. They're going to the bye week to rest up and get healthy. Go on to play Green Bay and then the Jets. Fucking crazy way to fucking end this game. I'll tell you what, that Taron Johnson pick, I was going crazy. I was jumping out of my seat. I couldn't sit down. I was so happy. I was so happy to win this game. And I'm still happy they won that game. Do I think the Bills fully got revenge? No. because it's not a playoff game. But I was happy they won. But I will say, if Buffalo were to play Kansas City in the playoffs, they can't be playing like that. Making mistakes like that, they can't do it. Missed tackles, false start on the offense, and, offsides on the defense. You can't do that shit. McKenzie messing up. I mean, you can't do that. Against Kansas City in the playoffs, you can't do that. I wouldn't even care if they were here at home. You can't do that. You cannot make mistakes in the playoffs. And watching the Bills in the playoffs, obviously, especially last year, they had near perfect games. But that was last year. But you still can't play like that in the playoffs. So, yeah, it made me nervous. But it was nice to see the Bills get the win here. I'm going to cut it today. Just kind of a summary, rewind, recap, kind of a summary of the Chiefs game, keeping it short and sweet for you. I'm not going to go over every play-by-play, because that's going to take too long. We're going to talk about the next couple Bills games. We're going to talk about the Sabres. And you'll want to see me in that Sabres video. You'll definitely want to listen to that, because I am not happy. And most of you guys like my rants, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. But I'm going to cut it short here. Just kind of a summary, going over things. Nothing too crazy, hopefully. And I tried to cut it down so it wasn't just play-by-play, because it just, to me, didn't sound all that great. Didn't sound like authentic. Kind of sounded like a robot. So we're going to try something new here, just kind of summarizing it, going over it. And obviously, like, if this game did just happen, I was talking about it that night or the following day, there would be more details. But we're going to try and do better with that now that my work schedule is changing a little bit here. So cut it here. We'll talk about the next video. We'll talk about the Sabres. We'll talk about Bills and Packers. We'll talk about Bills and Jets, Bills and Vikings. So stay tuned for that. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Go Bills. Go Sabres. Got to get better. November's not great for the Bills or the Sabres. So fingers crossed. We'll be all right. Just get through it. Get to December. We'll be fine. So see you guys then.